Hello friends, and welcome to another video from my series Quick Thoughts On, in which I always talk about different stories from the rich Star Trek universe. 50 years and 4 days ago, NBC aired the next episode of the third season of the classic Star Trek show, called For the World is Hollow, and I have touched the sky, and these are my honest opinions about it. I just have to say the same thing which probably every single person who ever talked about this episode said too. Was the writer paid by the word? The teaser shows Captain Kirk being very busy. First they call him to the bridge because somebody is shooting at them, and we're talking about nuclear missiles, which apparently are considered to be primitive weapons. Kirk orders them to be destroyed by phasers and asks Chekhov to bring the ship to the source of the shots, but then is called to sickbay. One of the crew members has been diagnosed with a terminal sickness, a sickness I'm not even trying to pronounce, xeno something, let's say he's going to die of xenophobia. And who is the person who is dying? Well, one of two Kirk's best friends, the chief medical officer, Dr. Leonard McCoy. Bones has just 1 year of life in front of him. When the Enterprise arrives at the point of the origin of the missiles, they find an asteroid which we have seen a few weeks ago in a different episode, and because, of course, asteroids usually don't shoot nuclear missiles at strangers, they assume it's a starship, which means time for an away mission. Kirk wants to go only with Spock, but Bones wants to join them. On a personal note, if somebody close to you tells you he or she is dying and he or she doesn't want to be treated differently, don't treat the person differently, even when it's hard not to change your behavior. I unfortunately know what I'm talking about. Well, that got a bit too personal. Back to the story. They beam down to a place filled with tubes, and out of them come out, well, it's hard to describe. A bunch of ninjas dressed up in carpet stolen from somebody's grandma's house, and they're led by a dominatrix. I mean, I know they didn't have any money this season, but this is completely ridiculous, come on. After a small fight, they are captured. The dominatrix is called Natira. She is the high priestess and the leader of the people of Yonada. The people who live there think that they are actually on a planet and not a spaceship disguised as an asteroid. They are brought in front of the actual leader of the people, a computer, who they call the Oracle. Oracle? I'm pretty sure it has a pretty good database, right? Oh wait, as we see in the end, it actually does. They say that they want to be friends with the Yonada people, so how does the Oracle greet them? By electrocuting them. That's a sign of friendship, isn't it? When they wake up, it takes McCoy longer, so Kirk tells Spock the reason. Wow, Kirk really sucks in keeping secrets, doesn't he? Suddenly they are greeted by, I'm sorry, but I have to go there, by an old drag queen who shares with them some drugs. It was shot in the 60s, so everybody takes them without any asking, and it looks like the old man had some bad experiences in the past. He even went to the mountains, which is forbidden, where he found out that the world is hollow and he touched the sky. Roll credits. But saying that makes him twitch a lot, and then he falls down. Maybe taking the same drugs as he does wasn't such a great idea, was it? Anyway, Natira comes in and sees 3 living men and 1 dead guy. They say that they were talking and suddenly he fell down dead. Seems legit, right? So the weird guys dressed up in grandma's carpets and pull his body away, and Natira says that they are allowed to move freely. All of them except for McCoy, who she wants to stay there with her. The thing is that Natira likes McCoy and wants him to stay on the ship planet as her mate, And McCoy seems to like the idea too. Oh, the power of boners. Meanwhile, Spock and Kirk explore the surroundings. Spock recognizes some writings as belonging to the Fabrini, an ancient race whose system got destroyed 10,000 years ago. It looks like the Fabrini scientists have built this multi-generation chip, masked it as an asteroid and sent it to a different planet. Which makes sense, even creating a giant supercomputer and making it the big boss makes kind of sense. But why did they create a computer bloodthirsty? And why does it have the power to kill the people? You know, I wouldn't want to live long enough to see the new version of Windows get the power to kill me. McCoy meanwhile agrees with Natira and her proposition, so she gladly runs to tell it to the Oracle. Right when Kirk and Spock are there. She doesn't notice them, but when she wakes up the computer, it again electrocutes them. They are supposed to be executed but McCoy interferes. He has a pretty good point. How is he supposed to become the husband of the main priestess and live with her, knowing that she killed his best friends? So they are expelled and have to leave. That's when McCoy informs them that he's staying. And Kirk takes it surprisingly well. He doesn't even try to talk to him and tell him that it's an incredibly stupid idea. I originally wrote that McCoy is doing a horrible mistake and completely out of character, but then I thought about it, and Bones is nothing more than an old country doctor. He doesn't really feel that good in space. The more I thought about it, the more Bones started to sound like exactly the type of a man who would want to spend the last months of his life living with a pretty wife in a normal, well, retirement. I didn't mention one thing. The Onada is on course to a planet, and if it crashes there, billions of inhabitants will die, which means that even though they lost McCoy, they still need to find a way how to change the course of the asteroid chip. And McCoy knows it. He gets the chip of obedience to his head, becoming one of the Onada folk, and during the ceremony he notices a book which should probably be an F-spec, D-spec or a user manual, or maybe a mix of all of them, so he of course calls the Enterprise to tell them about it, but he gets punished too. Kirk and Spock beam down and find him lying on the floor in pain with Natira at his side, which means that Spock has to remove his obedience thingy, which he got in the previous scene. So why did he get it? Kirk gets Natira and explains her the reality about the Onada. She doesn't believe him, so she wants to talk to the Oracle, but it doesn't take the news very well, and our heroes soon find also her lying down on the floor. McCoy takes out her obedience thing too, basically unplugging her. The Oracle does what any sensible computer would do, it tries to cook them. Literally. But our heroes get the book, find out how to turn it off, and also get to the Forbidden Room. There they manage to get to a console, change the course, and even copy the medical database. And what a coincidence! The Fabrini had a cure for the Xeno thing, sickness, which the Doctor has too, which means that our final scene is on the Enterprise's sickbay, where we see that the cure worked and McCoy will live. Boy, this script has problems. Just like many other scripts in the third season, this feels like a first or maybe a second draft, not like a properly thought out and corrected script. Things don't happen organically, but because different parts of the story needed them to happen. The obedience device is just one of them. The story is nothing original, it has been told many times in the 20th and even in the 21st century. First time probably in the Robert Heinlein novel Orphans of the Sky, and the last time probably last year in The Orville. Even the asteroid probe has been reused, we have seen it originally in the Paradise Syndrome. Some plot points are also taken from the Paradise Syndrome, one of the crew members falling in love with a local woman and wanting to spend the rest of his life there is probably the main one. It even reuses actors. The old man was played by the same actor as the one who played Theodore Haskins in The Cage. And of course Majel Barrett, who played Nurse Chapel in this episode, played number 1 in The Cage. So yes, it's not very original, is it? This story definitely needed a few more rewrites, but overall I think it's pretty enjoyable. On my standard scale from 0 to 10, where 0 is complete garbage, 10 is a masterpiece, and 5 is just average, I would give this episode 6 out of 10. It's definitely above average, but Star Trek stories used to be much better. But as always, these were just my opinions. Feel free to let me know what do you think about this episode. Did you like it, or hate it, or do you agree with my slightly above average rating? If you enjoyed this video, you can hit that thumbs up button, and if you have some free time, you can check any of the previous videos. You should see some links on screen right now. Thank you very much for watching, and see you very soon. The next video will be about the next TOS episode called The Tholian Web. Thank you again, and bye.